Knowing who you are is also you being able to tell or to say what is your strength. Sometimes what is hard in the front end becomes easy in the back end. We are trying to thrive in an environment that is not our natural environment.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Next Phase podcast. And today we are having Patrick Njakwa on as a guest today. Patrick works with capable professionals who feel stuck at critical decision points in their careers. He teaches a structured decision-making framework that turns confusion into clarity and clarity into momentum. His mission is to help ambitious people make the right move before hesitation costs them yes. So thank you very much, Patrick, for joining us today. I know I've said a little bit about you, but can you please tell us more about you?
First and foremost, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here today and have this conversation. My intention and my commitment is to share with you whether it is my experience, my insight, or whatever I can share so that your listeners can get the most out of it. I think you did my presentation. That's good enough. But if there is one thing that I would like to add is I came to Canada now is 12 years ago, and I'm originally from Cameroon. I love singing. I play guitar, and I am a gospel singer. So maybe one thing, I also wrote 3 books so far. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that. So we'll just go right into the question. The first question I would love to ask you, because when I was reading your profile, you talk about decision making and clarity. Can you tell us what led you to focus specifically on decision making and career clarity in your work?
The main reason that guided me in that direction is my own story. Because looking back, I realized that I struggled a lot with my own career, making sure I'm moving. I feel like I was very, very slow professionally. And when I started digging deeper into this, I realized that I wasn't taking the right decision at the right time. Simple example. If we had a department meeting or a meeting with colleagues and managers and everything, I would do my best to stay as invisible as possible. For me, I was trying to protect myself. I was like, if I am not visible, then I'm not in trouble because accepting responsibility, taking responsibility is exposing myself. And when you expose yourself, people are going to attack you. People are going to be complaining about you. So I was trying to protect myself that way, but I was wrong. Because if you want to move up the ladder, if you want to create an impact where you are, you need to say yes to those responsibilities. So I wasn't taking the right decision. I wasn't maybe raising my hand to say, this is what I think, or saying yes to projects. Those are just few examples that led me to understand that decision making is very, very important. And one of them is you deciding to be visible, making yourself visible by your work and by what you say every day.
Thank you for sharing that. Just to add to what you said, recently I was reading something that most of the time, maybe back in Africa or when you are in a meeting and you keep quiet,
Mhm.
it's a sign of respect. But here in North America, it's not a sign of respect. Like really,
Yeah.
you just have to share your opinion and also contribute to decision making. So I really resonate with what you have shared in there about
And that's
visibility.
true. Allow me to add this. At some point in my life, I was very uncomfortable when someone was asking me or asked me, what do you think? It was a big challenge to me because I was just used to executing. You don't have to think, just do what you have to. That's not good at all. That's not good. So decision making is very, very key here.
Yeah, I know we have talked about the visibility or maybe you are being quiet, but I also know that so many people are also in a career that they are stuck there. They are not moving forward. We've shared an example of if you are invisible, you are not sharing your opinion, not letting people
Mhm.
know what you think about something, you can be stuck in your career. What are other things that is not usually on the surface that also keep people stuck in their career?
A couple of them, but I want to focus on one because some reasons are external reasons, but other reasons are internal. And usually we look at what is external because we can see,
Yeah.
but also there is something inside. I don't know if that's the right term, but me, the way I call it is your identity crisis. When you don't know who you are, that's very difficult. I don't want to sound philosophical, but let me put it simply by saying this. Knowing who you are is also you being able to tell or to say what is your strength, what is your zone of genius, what is your zone of impact, because you can be working, giving your best somewhere where you are not needed. And you're
Mm.
wasting time, you're wasting your energy, and you're wasting all your capabilities. So being able to recognize that, for instance, I'm a strong communicator. So I better be in a position where I use that ability to help the company grow. And when the company grows, I'm also growing because I'm using my skills. That's good. But if I don't know that, instead of doing communication, maybe I'm somewhere just doing some packing and stuff like that, I will feel frustrated. Knowing yourself is very important. And if I want to go deeper, maybe for those who want to think about your life purpose, for instance, knowing your life purpose, knowing your life assignment, know what are your gifts or what is your gift, knowing your potential, all those, when you have confusion around those different notions, or where you are not able to say clearly, this is my life purpose, this is my life assignment, this is my gift, this is my potential, this is what I can do, this is what I cannot do. When you don't have clarity there, it becomes very, very confusing to you. And then you don't move ahead because you don't know what to choose. You don't have a
Yeah.
good filter to decide which direction to go.
Thanks for that insight. I also still want to still talk more about the issue of feeling stuck. In your work, you normally talk about three common misconceptions that keep professionals stuck. You talk about some people might think that they need more time, more confidence, or more information. Can you break down this misconception for us?
Bring it back to me, instance. I want to talk about someone else. When I did my strength finder test, I realized that I am in the category of those called learners. And the good thing about learners is they love personal development. They love learning new things. They love reading books, going to seminars and stuff like that. But sometimes it is hard for them to move from the learning phase to the execution phase. They always feel like, no, I need to learn more. I need to learn more. So for them to be ready, they need to get to a point that they know that there is nothing else they need to learn. And that's how you can easily get stuck because you feel like since there is still one more thing that I can learn, it is only when I have that one more thing that I will be ready to go. Going back to the corporate world, you'll feel like, no, I need to research this project deeply before I can share my idea. But sometimes what you can share is not coming from your research. Maybe it's just an intuition that you have. So it's not because you haven't done a thorough research that what you are going to say it doesn't make sense. So this is one thing that is most of the time getting people stuck because they think I need more time. So I need to learn more. And others will say, I need more time, meaning that they were like, okay. And this is huge with Christians because they will feel like I haven't gotten this because God hasn't allowed me to get it for now. So I need to wait. I need to wait and I need to wait. And sometimes we confuse waiting and being inactive and being passive. So that's also how this can become a problem. And the last aspect is the confidence piece. We feel like we need to be more confident. But confidence is like a muscle. You become confident the more you do the thing. Okay. I heard someone some days saying this. Courage is when you accept to do what you are afraid of until that thing no longer scares you. So you need to give yourself permission to move on and say, okay, I don't know how to do it. I still have some fear. I will move ahead and do it anyway. So if you were to be confident before you move on, you'll be wasting a lot of time.
I totally agree with you about getting that courage, because sometimes when we want to grow, our growth does not happen in somewhere that we are comfortable in. Growth usually happen in
Yes.
uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable state. So having the courage, just a little courage to just make that little shift can turn everything around. I resonate with that. If we have talked about people thinking that they need more information, more time, or more confidence, now we have broken down that misconception. So, what are the decision making framework? Because I know in your work also you talk about decision making framework. Let's assume that someone is stuck. So, what are the things that they can do to start getting unstuck for the in their career?
Okay, this is a long workshop, but let's try to find a way and squeeze
Yes,
it in a
like
couple of
let's say the
days.
first thing they can do, not the whole thing, the first step that they can take just by listening to this podcast. So, what is the first step in which they can take to start um shifting from this stock?
Okay, so the formula might be very simple, might sound very, very simple, but if we don't pay attention to it, because of this, Jim Rohn used to say that what is easy to do is also easy not to do. So when you are in a situation and you want to change the situation, one first thing you can do is to ask yourself, what is my strength or what are my strengths here? So it's like, what is your leverage zone? What can you really use to make a difference? Okay. So what do you have in a house? Like we see in the Bible, what do you have in a house? Sometimes say, I can only speak, but that speaking can create a big difference. I can only draw. I can only, but that only small thing that you are thinking is not enough can make a big difference. So in the corporate world, what is your or what are your strengths? That's one thing. Second thing, what is your position right now? Right now, reality check. What is your position, your positioning at this point? Maybe your capabilities can put you in a I don't know, leadership advisory or leadership role. But right now, where you are, you're just maybe a recruitment specialist, whereas you could be a manager. So you need to look around and see what is your situation right now. And next step, ask yourself, what is when you put together your risk and the reward, what is going to happen? If you take the action, is this going to be too risky for you right now or in the long run? Are you going to get the reward right now or after? Sometimes what is hard in the front end becomes easy in the back end, but we want it to be easy right now, and later we struggle. And the last thing is the execution simplicity. How can you make this very, very simple for you to execute? When we want to transform our situation, we want to transform everything at the same time overnight. And it becomes overwhelming because it's too much and it is going in so many directions. But if you say to yourself, okay, what is one phone call I can make? What is one thing I can change? What is one person I can talk to? What is I don't know, one action I can take? Just one, so that I can move forward. And when you have that first action taken and you have some results, you have a second one taken, you have some results. Now you start creating some momentum and you are going to build on that momentum. But if you want to change everything at the same time and overnight, at that time you become very, very overwhelmed, confused, frustrated, and you get stuck and stuck.
Yeah, I think you've answered the next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask about the biggest mistake professionals make when they are trying to make their next move. And that is what you have answered now, like trying to do
Yeah.
everything at the same time, trying to take up. Sometimes putting everything at the same time can even result into burnout. So, I like
Mhm.
how you explain that. Aside from wanting to do everything at the same time, not doing one thing at a time, are there or is there any other big mistake that people do when trying to evaluate their next career move?
I'm going to say that there are many. But I also want to emphasize that we are not all the same. So what is happening with me maybe is different with you or with someone else. But this being said, I think from what I saw, many professionals usually stay with the external environment, meaning that they want to see what they can do. They focus on what do I need to do? What course do I need to take? What certification do I need to take? What networking event do I need to go to? So we always think about actions. What do we need to do? But the thing is, for you to do something and to have something, you need to be someone first. So neglecting the identity transformation is negatively impacting the type of action you will be taking. And if you're not taking the right actions, then you're not getting the right results. So we feel like if you just work harder, you are going to get that result. But you work harder at that time and it becomes exhausting. That's how also burnout comes in. Sometimes we are burned out in what we do in the corporate world, not because we are not capable, not because we are underqualified, but only because we are forcing something or we are trying to thrive in an environment that is not our natural environment. We are trying to do something that doesn't really resonate with us. And like I said, communication, writing, creating programs and stuff like that. If you put me somewhere else to do something else, I'll feel like it is too much. Like someone suggested a project to me, and the project was to work with a you have some photos, some pictures. You have a couple of them, maybe two or three, and you
Yeah.
need to tell the difference. What is happening? What this is the original, the original picture. This is the AI generated picture. What is the difference? What do you see? For me, it was hard to do. It was difficult. I was spending hours. I said, stop. I will not do this again. That's enough. But if you call me, ask me to create a project for you or to create a program, I'll be happy. Even if I spend 10 hours doing it, I'll be happy doing it. We need to know what is our zone because we need to have that flow to carry us and make us get to the final destination. So that's what I would say, not taking into consideration that the inside transformation is also very good. Mindset is a strategy.
Yeah, so from what you said, it also boils down to what you are passionate about and what your strengths are. So if you are
Yep.
trying to struggle in something that you are not, you don't have, is not your strong forte, it's going to make that frustration increase, make you have much of burnout. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay. And I know that think every Thursday you host a 90 minutes webinar on making strategic career and business decision, most like just about what we are talking about now. Can you tell us what participants will learn every Thursday if they join your webinar?
Very specific thing that they will learn is the framework that helps them make the right move. Because when I say the right move, it doesn't mean that you need to move up or you need to move to the side. Sometimes you can stay in the same job position, doing the same thing, but you just tweak one thing that is going to give you a different perception of where you are and what you are doing. So that framework is going to help you ask yourself very specific question about your situation. It's like a reality check question. And I shared those questions earlier when I was talking about your strength.
Yeah.
What is your positioning right now? What is the risk and what is the rewards you can have or you can experience if you take the move? And what is the simplest action that you are going to do to make it possible for you? So that's the main framework that they are learning when they come to that. That's not the only thing, but that's the easiest thing for them. And during the workshop, we also have a reflective session where then they have to pick one aspect of their life, one aspect of or one decision they are working on, and we work together and get a solution out of that. So That's one specific thing that we do during that session.
So who benefits most for attending this webinar? Who are the demographics that you always want to be in this webinar?
I see two specific audiences. The first one is entry. When I say entry level, it's not like young people just coming out of college. And when I say entry level, it's those joining the workforce. Maybe they are between 2 and 5 years. Okay,
Okay.
of work experience. That's
Mm.
the first category, entry level. And I also have another category that I call mid level. They are maybe between 5 and 12 years of experience. The main problem that they have, the main pain that they have is that they feel stuck. They know they are doing a good job. They know they are capable, but their situation they are in is not reflecting all the capabilities that they really have. So my goal is to come in and to help them untangle everything and to be on the right path. So those are the right people that can really, really benefit from the content of that workshop.
And if anybody is listening to you now and they would like to register for the upcoming one, how can they go about it?
Okay, so I may provide you with a link for that, but I can also say that the name of my company is Elevated Impact. Elevated Impact. So on Bright, under that company, Elevated Impact, there is let's say every day, because it is a recurring event.
Yeah.
Every day there is a workshop available for them to register. It's free for registration.
Okay. 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 So we are coming almost to the end of this podcast now, but I want to say, what are the advice that you give to people listening to this podcast and I know we'll be talking about how they can move from being stuck. What are the advice that you can give professionals that are feeling stuck in whatever profession that they find themselves?
A couple of them. One is to really have the courage to do the internal work. It is very, 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 very important. If you are a sales person, for instance, you attend all the sales training with all the techniques, but you didn't go out and start selling your product. If you don't have a good self-image, you will never be able to sell. You need to be able to see yourself as someone who can succeed in doing what you're doing. So doing the internal work, working on your self-image is going to help you. Very, very important. The second thing I would like to mention is visibility. I worked with people who thought that for them to be visible, they just need to do their work. It's not enough. Yes, it is good to do your work, but it's not enough. Why? Because if you do your work, you also need to know to let others know what you are doing, because that's also how you can get into their mind. Okay. I used to be very mad in the corporate world when I saw emails. We are all CC'd in the email. I was like, what is this? I'm not even concerned by what you're doing. Why are you putting my name here? Just send it to one person and that's enough. I know this can be annoying. I know maybe this is not the best practice, but there is also a good side of this practice, because when I do something and I publish and I CC it almost all my department, I am doing a promotion of my work. I am letting them know that I have been working on this and this is the result that I get. Okay. So tomorrow, if something comes up and they are looking for someone who can do this kind of job or get this kind of result, who's coming to mind? It's me. It's my name. Yeah. Because I was able to do the promotion to promote my own job. Sometimes we wait for others to come and save us, but we need to find a way to do our own promotion ourselves so that people can know that this is what you are doing and this is the kind of impact that we are creating. Those are two main things that I would like to share with someone who is unstuck and wondering what they can do to move ahead.
Thank you for sharing that. I really like the second one about visibility. Yesterday, I was reading something online and somebody was talking about, I think it's called career deck. Right? If you are going to your manager for a performance review, then you create a deck of all the achievements you have done, of the results that you have done. And the person was putting some statistics in it and saying that if you just say it like that, people retain just about 10% of the information they hear. But if you make it visible, they retain about 65% of what they had. And it's really, really stood out for me that, okay, that is really true. Not just, like you said, not just you doing the work and thinking that people will see it because you are working hard, but you trying to show them and making them see, maybe through the example that you have shared of seeing your teammates in an email or doing career deck or whatever way you are trying to increase that visibility. It's really work, and I totally agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing your word of knowledge to the guests, and hopefully we'll see you soon in some other episodes. So thank you very much to our listeners. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share it with your friends and family. Also like the video. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.